goes into a book sprint is, very, very much weeks and weeks leading up to the actual event. And even picking the date for the event and picking where you're going to have the event and who you're going to invite, and all of these things are very critical to the success of the event. But really, the book sprint we ran, we had 5 days. We had a half day of planning, and we trained people in the tool. We had 3 days of solid writing, and then a half day where we just had fun. We toured around Austin and got to play in the lake and things like that. And because that's important to help the people who are writing together get to know each other. And then on the last day, we had a day of cleanup and got all the content ready to publish. And this picture shows the books that we were able to produce by pulling content from many different sources, but also by writing on our own. And there's a video out on YouTube that actually, there's a couple. There's one on YouTube that shows the One Laptop per Child book sprint, and then there's one out on Vimeo that shows another book sprint that was done in New York City. And so this is kind of just an interesting experiment. And the thing is about a book sprint, I don't think it has to have a wiki, but a wiki sure makes it easy because of the collaborative authoring that you can do within a wiki. But IBM has done these for years. Their Red books were always written with this idea of collaborative authoring with, bringing people together. They would train them all in FrameMaker for a half day on the first day, and after that they would set them down to write an outline for a very specific technical configuration that they were working on. And so I think this idea of collaborative authoring with an event at its center is really, really going to be important going forward, especially as wikis become more prevalent. And especially if you start building community around your documentation. So I always like to share that because it's a really interesting story. And we ended up with quite a bit of success from it. It wasn't easy, but it was really, really valuable to have that book at the end of the week. Now, another thing I like to talk about is that it might sound like all of these techniques could never, ever, ever match with the idea of structured authoring, that, so much of TechCon today is going towards XML and structured authoring. And, because single sourcing is very important. It allows you to reuse content. It allows you to get multiple outputs. And what structured authoring, I do see quite a bit of relevance between structured authoring and some of these deliverables that are more conversational. And you probably know that DITA, the Darwin Information Typing Architecture, is a popular method of XML-based authoring because it separates content from format, it offers that reuse, and it definitely offers consistency and productivity gains. So it also requires a lot of upfront design and planning. And then the great thing about something like DITA and the fact that people have kind of started embracing it is that there's now a DITA to Wiki project, and it basically allows you to take your DITA source files and output them to wiki text. This is a great breakthrough because it means that a wiki can be another deliverable. So you can enable comments on your wiki, you can enable conversation around your wiki, but you still have all the gains that structured authoring gave you and probably the reason why you went to it in the first place. So that's an exciting project to keep an eye on. I'm definitely experimenting with it to try to get content into a wiki or an example chapter into a wiki, or just things that I can do to start get all the gains of structured authoring, but also and XML publishing, but also have the gains that some of these conversational techniques will give you. Now another example is actually called Wiki Slice, and Wiki Slice, actually, this particular implementation of a Wiki Slice uses DITA under the covers as well. It basically lets a student or a teacher do a search on Wikipedia. Let's say they're doing an a week about Africa, or want to build a specialized set of curriculum based on, a particular location. Well, they can search for animals in Africa. They can search for different cultures in Africa, what are traditional outfits worn, and what are some of their ceremonies, and they can pull all of these things together into a Wiki Slice. And this is a little activity on the One Laptop per Child Sugar operating system. that actually allows people to do this in any country, pull from this giant source of knowledge, called Wikipedia. And I actually have if I can switch over to it. This shows, I don't know if you'll get the audio, but this basically shows launching. I'm going to just mute it and just show you this. But this is a screencast of the how you make a Wiki Slice. He's basically inside of the One Laptop per Child computer using the Sugar operating system, and he's searching for items that he wants to include in his new piece of curriculum. And I'll just slide over so you can see. You can pull graphics over, and then what you do is you rearrange all of your articles in this side, your Wikipedia articles, even ones that you wrote yourself, and make your own themes, make your own Wiki Slices. And again, it's the data map under the covers. It's actually letting the person drag and drop all these things around and using the Wikipedia articles as the source topics. So I think that's really exciting.